Hello, welcome back to On the Road Adventure. This is our last ride on the Voge 900 DSX. We've been really lucky to get first dibs on these, I think, after the press launch. And yeah, we've been riding them for about 2 weeks now. So we wanted to share our final thoughts with you.
I definitely will be sad when they have to go away in a couple days. It definitely feels like it's not enough time to do them justice, but we had a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure we have ridden these through all kinds of conditions and different types of riding and stuff like that. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll pull over somewhere here and we'll have a look round and we'll chat you through our thoughts of the Voge 900 DSX. This isn't exactly an owner's review. We've only had access to these bikes for a couple of weeks, and you know, I know the first thing that's going to come up in the comments is, well, I want to see somebody who's done, you know, big miles on it, you know, to test the reliability. Well, all we can say is we've ridden these as much as we can, and we've ridden them in all kinds of conditions.
Yes.
And I have to say, I was fully expecting to stand here at the end of a couple of weeks and say, well, you know, it's okay, but this went wrong, or, you know, that happened, or there isn't that much to report, really.
Everything has been great on those bikes, and I quite enjoyed the last couple of weeks riding on them. And like Rich said, it's definitely not enough to give the bike justice, because there's so much more to be ridden on them to actually give you a 100% review.
I would be confident, I don't know about you, but I would get on that bike and I would take it on one of our epic tours around Europe. I feel perfectly confident with this bike.
Yeah, I feel like there is definitely enough dealerships in Europe as well to use them if something went wrong. I don't know about Asia and all that, but I know there's definitely loads in Europe.
These bikes have been in Spain and in Europe for a long time now, and you'll find other people that have had these, if you can find one in English, that have done far more miles than we have on these, and everybody seems to be happy. I mean, read through all the comments and things, and yeah, you can see other people, everybody seems to have positive things to say about it. So let's have a look around the bike. We'll go over some of the top features that it's got, and I'll tell you what I thought about them and how they performed. Firstly, we've got the two colours here. These do come in 3 colours, I believe. One of them is a blue and white one. This one is the lime green, which does not look bad at all. But everybody agrees that Eva picked the winner right from day one. Eva went straight to the black and gold.
I think it is the best looking one in my opinion.
I have to agree, and the comments also seem to agree. This one's called the Black Knight, and yeah, it really does look the part. I mean, you
cannot beat the black and gold combo. Any bike that has gold wheels, it's just amazing, and you have to say that. I really like this bike, and definitely everyone has been stopping and asking, what bike is this? So that's really lovely.
Yeah, yours definitely gets more attention than mine, for sure.
Yeah.
Firstly, I have to apologise. The bikes are very dirty, but you know, they've just came back and we came through some horrendous conditions after a trip in Wales and things. So yeah, I've not had time to clean them yet. We want to make as much content as we can for you guys. So
yes.
Yeah, that's my excuse anyway. Right, let's have a look around the bike then, and I'll tell you what I think. So we've got up front, we've got the adjustable windshield here. That is adjustable on the inside. It doesn't move a great deal, and if I owned one myself, I would probably put a spoiler on the top just to help deflect that wind a little bit more, but it's not a big problem at all. Probably we wear peaked helmets, so that's a big contribution. Lights, fantastic, really good, really bright. We have ridden these at night, and yeah, you can see a good long way on these, and you also have the auxiliary lights as well built in. So not only can you see well, but people can see you. It really helps you stand out. We like that. Everything I'm showing you on this bike is completely as stock and included with the bike at the price of $9,200. The suspension on this bike is a strong point. It is really, really good. The bike is really stable. It doesn't matter whether it's fully loaded or none of the boxes on, it makes no difference. It's also got a steering dampener up top as well. We got the 21-inch 1990 tyre here. This is a Pirelli Scorpion Trail. It has been fantastic across a wide range of you know, road surfaces, whether it's wet or dry. Nothing to report there, very good. Lovely twin discs at the front, running the Brembo twin pot caliper. Again, it's Brembo. These are premium parts on this bike, to be fair. I honestly, I don't know how they've done it at this price. But yeah, again, nothing but positivity to report, really. In the interest of balance, I want to show you the rear suspension, which has an adjustable preload here. However, I did find, as my finger will attest, that as you're trying to turn this, the plastic on the back here is quite sharp, and so it's not very easy to turn. If only that was down a bit more, this was cut out a little bit more. But yeah, you can see I damaged my hand adjusting that one, so that's not ideal. But once you have set it once, I imagine very few people will actually mess around with that. So included on the bike, we do get, again, all in with the purchase price of $9,200, a full set of luggage. The luggage is made by a Chinese company, I'm assuming, called Lobo. But I have to say, they don't feel cheap, they do feel very premium. Come and have a look in there. Firstly, inside, it is lined with this really nice soft material. And I thought this would be a downside when we first got it, because it's going to get dirty and filthy very quickly. But this is removable with some simple Velcro, so you can take it out and clean it. These panniers have been through some of the heaviest rain that I've ever ridden in, and you know, as you will have seen in the previous episode, they were bone dry inside. Everything was perfectly dry. The reason that these panniers have performed so well in the rain is because they've got this rubber gasket in around here, and that fits snugly on the top of the seal here, and so you end up with a perfect seal. And I just think that this is an excellent strong point for this bike. A feature that we really loved on this bike was the radar situation on the back. If anybody gets too close or is approaching too fast, this back end of the bike lights up like a Christmas tree. And there has been a few examples of that while we've had the bike, and we have seen it be very effective. We also are guilty of setting it off when we ride too close to each other. But we can confirm that works really well, and I think it's a safety feature that should be on a lot of new motorcycles. The bike does come with a centre stand, but as you can see, this isn't placed the best really. It's too close to the pillion peg. It would have been better if this came out to the side, and yeah, that doesn't make it very easy to put on. It's not the end of the world. The bike to live with, it does feel a little bit heavy, I'm not going to lie to you. Putting it on the centre stand is some effort, but I'm glad it's there. It's not something you use every day, and you know, that's an optional extra on a lot of bikes. The Voge 900 does have an app that works well with this, and that also has a basic form of navigation. That's not something we've used, to be honest. We've just used a different sat nav on here, but you do have a display here with all your information in with your settings. And we can see here that the bike is performing 49.5 mpg. However, we haven't had that zeroed from the start, so that showing 49.5 is from the very start of this bike's life. And yeah, it has been used on a press launch and things, so it hasn't been looked after like that. On the subject of fuel, here's our fuel gauge. And what we have found is that this one drops down in increments to here. So we still have two markers, but it goes from here to flashing red. Now, I believe from looking online, it still has about 4 litres left, but it doesn't have a range remaining. So as soon as you get to that point and you've got a red flashing light, it gives you the fuel anxiety and you need to go and get fuel right away. The display as a whole, I believe, is a 7-inch display, and it hasn't had any problems with glare with the sun. It's got a really nice sort of matte finish on that, and I've been able to see that really clearly the entire time we've had it. This one does come with a blind spot detection sensors on here, and that's all part to do with the radar on the back of the bike. And that works really well. As soon as the car or whatever's coming by you, me and Eva have tested this, as soon as you disappear from the mirror, the light comes on and you are aware that somebody's there. This can be a little bit controversial, because is that going to encourage people to do less lifesaver checks when changing lanes and things? I personally wouldn't come to rely on it, but I am glad it's there. Lastly, this bike has been very easy to use. All the switch gear and everything has worked well. We haven't had any problems trying to figure out what button does what, you know, and how to use the bike. So I like that. I always think that a good piece of equipment you should be able to jump straight on and use right away, and that has been the case here. Something I have noticed though is that all of this switch gear, it all works well and everything's great, but this one does toggle up and down and sideways, and I don't know if you can see on camera, but if you look in round close here, there is a gap to allow this toggle switch to move. And this is only my opinion, but I think in heavy rain, maybe water will get inside that switch, and that would concern me. Probably worth getting some switch cleaner every now and again if I owned one, and I'd just give that a blast out. In the interest of fairness, that is just something that I'm inventing, really. It's a problem that I think could happen and I would be worried about. But we've ridden this bike through some torrential rain. We've done some light off-roading with it. We've done motorway miles, we've done A-roads, we've done twisties, we've done nighttime stuff. And the bike's been flawless. I have to say I've been very impressed with it. I was expecting to find problems and to, you know, to slate it a bit. I really can't. A question we have been asked over and over again in the comments is this: would you buy your Africa Twin new again, or would you buy the Voge?
Well, it's always difficult when it comes to buying a bike because everyone is a different place in life and at this moment, and everybody needs a different bike at this particular time. However, I feel like this bike for £9,000 is not lacking anything that my Africa Twin has. So I probably would buy this one. And if I wanted to make it more off-roady, I'd just put knobbly tyres on it, and I'm sure this bike would perform just perfect.
For me,
yeah, I would.
I think, and I thought long and hard about this. Now, I think in the you know, in the efforts of fairness, I think we have to compare this bike to the Africa Twin Adventure Sports because it's the higher spec one, although it still doesn't have everything that this bike has. Definitely not a standard. But if you put the Africa Twin Adventure Sport in front of me, about 18 grand, and this one at 9.2, I'm telling you, I'd buy the Voge. I really would. If the prices were closer, then maybe, you know, like a lot of people, I'd be thinking, well, you know, wait till they're tested, you know, the interest in reliability and parts availability.
Definitely.
But at 9 grand versus 18 grand, I'm telling you, I am buying the Voge and I'm using the rest of the money to travel.
I definitely wouldn't be scared buying a Voge, especially seeing how it in other European countries, how popular this bike has been.
Yeah, other people have tested it already.
And not only from this year, but we saw this same bike in Spain months and months ago, and they've only just sort of surfaced in the UK. So if there was something really wrong with them, we would have known by now.
Yeah, I think Eva's right. I think if there was common faults, we would have found them looking up online, and I have looked. You know, the dealer network, people say, would you travel with this to Europe on a big tour? Absolutely, I would. Yeah. I think if you're touring in Europe, you're going to find more dealers there, probably, than in the UK right now. However, I think the dealer network is growing and will continue to grow as more and more people buy into this. Then obviously businesses are going to see the opportunity to sell the parts and spares as well. So the dealer network is going to grow massively.
And you know, you have to be honest as well. There are premium brands of motorbikes that have common faults and everyone just accepts that. That's just how it is. Oh, that's just what Honda do. They have engine leaks and this and the other, oil leaks. And you know, so... If
that was to happen with the Voge, everyone would slate it because it's a Chinese bike. The fact that both me and Eva ride Hondas and we have had what people call common issues.
We have bought them for the certainty of them, of trusting them in any conditions we are. And so far, I have to say that my bike is still under warranty and it has been back to the dealer quite a few times to exchange different parts and fix different things under the warranty.
The point here is that I think all machines are made of nuts and bolts and electronics, and all will have problems. How they're dealt with is what separates the good from the bad. Right, there's one last thing that people keep asking us about on the Voge 900, and that is, what is the bike like two up?
All right, who's going on the back then?
I'm not even going to draw straws or flip a coin for it. You are. Get your lid, let's go. We're going. All right, first part of the test is Eva getting on the bike. Now, in fairness, we are not well versed at getting on and off the bike as a pillion. And I tried to swing my leg over as well just now to try to get on the pillion seat. But with the boxes there, that is quite a tricky thing to do. And it probably comes down to technique. And I bet your pillion would do a better job of it than us, being that we never do pillion.
It's nice, I can grab those handles, it's quite cool. But then also I can grab the handles under the seat, which is quite alright actually. Right, first impression so far, apart from being really scared to be a pillion, it's actually less cramped than I thought it would be. And I'm not a small person by any means.
For me, I have to say that it doesn't really make that much difference. I have wound the preload up because we have got all the boxes on and we're two up. Neither one of us are particularly small people. but the bike is still perfectly leveled, and you know, it doesn't feel like it's you know, it's strained or overweight, in fairness. Comfort for me makes absolutely no difference. So how's it like back there, Eva? How's that back box behind you with the pad on it?
I think it's quite comfortable, to be honest. I feel like I've got a lot of space in between me and you. Obviously this is gonna vary from a couple to couple because, you know, everyone has different size and all that, but it feels all right. And I'm not touching Rich's helmet with my helmet, even though I have the peak on. I thought that would be difficult to sort of not to.
How do you find the angle on your legs? Have you got enough room for your legs down to the pegs?
Well, it feels all right, and it feels like I can sort of adjust my feet a lot with the pegs because they're quite long. So I can be closer or just a bit more relaxed.
How's the seating position? Are you looking over me, over my helmet, or are you looking at the back of my head?
I'm actually looking over your helmet. Obviously I can still see your helmet, but I do see well over it. So I am sat quite high, which is good.
I imagine you'd much prefer to see where you're going.
Yeah, I do. No, it's not as horrible as I thought it would be, apart from the fact that I really don't like getting on the back. For some reason, since I stopped being a pillion, I've got that fear of tipping the bike over when I'm getting on the back. So I'm sure your usual pillion will be fine. The side panniers are not at all in the way of my legs. Sort of my leg is on top of it, so it doesn't cramp me in any way at all. It's quite comfy.
So we're just going to join a faster bit of road now. So this bike has got 95 horsepower, 95 torque, and it pulls along just nicely, no problem. It has absolutely no effect at all having either on the back. Plenty of power. And likewise, just as importantly, brakes and everything are tip top on this bike. Brembos all round.
Before I started riding my own bike, I was a pillion on a Tyres GT900 Pro, and I have to say, this being on the back on the Voge doesn't feel any less comfortable. It's actually quite nice being on the back here. I've also been on the back on the Africa Twin, and again, maybe this one is actually more comfortable than the Africa Twin. After a short ride as a pillion on this Voge, I have to say it's more comfortable than I thought it would be. When you look at the bike from before I actually sit on it, you'll think that this backrest will be in the way and you think that there is not enough space, but actually I'm not a small person and it was more than enough space for me here as a pillion, and really comfortable. The boxes are not on the way. Obviously me getting on and off the bike, ignore that because I have a personal fear of doing so since I've been actually riding, so don't worry about that. It's actually perfect, it's fine. I would definitely be comfortable as a pillion to go on a longer trip on this. Plus you've got all the boxes so you can store all of your stuff.
On the subject of those boxes, a lot of people have asked how easy they come on and off, so we'll take them off and we'll show you. Alright, so on the subject of removing the boxes then, we've obviously got a lock system at the top and there's another one down here at the bottom, so we just turn that one to the open position and then we can clip that one open there, and that bracket hooks on to the plate underneath, and then just like every other top box really, and then just like every other top box, once you've undone the clip, it takes a little bit of convincing and a bit of wiggling,
which is a good sign.
Yeah, reassuring, and it comes off. So you can see that there's two locator pins on the plate and they slide into the bottom of the box there. So let's see if we can put that one back on. we just need to lock that latch back down to there and put it back on. Now these are brand new, and you know, yeah, they are a little bit stiff. They do take a bit of a convincing to wiggle free, but you know, once they do, and it's off.
For me personally, I do like that it takes a little bit convincing and a bit of a fight to actually remove the top box, because sometimes I get the locks wrong and I have been unlocking the bottom one by accident, but it doesn't just clips off.
Yeah, in fairness, some of you will be familiar with other ones like the Givey ones and things, and they drop, we got the rail and they drop onto the rail and then you push them on and they clip into place, and you have been known to leave those clips off. Whereas I'll do one of these side ones now and I'll show you why that's not possible. So it is the same story with the side cases. Turn that to the unlocked position so nobody can nick your panniers. And then remove this one. Now if you come and have a closer look, you can see the box has these plastic lugs on, and so this box, the only way it can come off is it has to move backwards, so you need to give it a few whacks from the other side to free it up, and away you go. So this one, you cannot lock this into place onto the frame unless you have slid all of these things into place. It's not possible to lock it, so you can't mistake it for being locked. So we drop that on. So you can see we drop these onto the bottom, and on other designs these sort of clip in as you get to the top there. But it's not possible to shut that until you've clipped these side ones on. So we need to put that one up and then pull it this way. Well, just to show you, look, so this does not reach. You cannot lock that on until all of these are in place.
I find that this box is much easier to take on and off than the one I had on my Tiger, which was similar design, but they were very difficult to take on and off, for me at least.
We mentioned earlier on and in other videos that this bike has a 1080p front-facing camera. That record loops all the time if you put a card in the module under the seat, and there's also a button on the handlebars for taking snapshots. So we'll take the seat off and I'll show you where that goes. So don't forget, when you remove the seat, it is heated, so you have this electrical connector, so probably best just to pull that one out of the way. Little toolkit on the bottom, should we have a look at that one, see what's in there? Not very much. A Torx key and some double-ended spanners, 8, 10, 14, 17. And we have another Torx. We can see underneath the seat there isn't any room for any storage or anything like that. There's a small bit of room right at the back there. You might get something small in there, so a few extra tools maybe. But this box here is for the camera. So all we need to do is to remove this one, and then you can see where the micro SD card hides in there. There is nice easy access to the battery if you need it. Should you ever have a flat or anything, you can jump this quite easily and add on any accessories if you really needed to do so. A small thing for me with this bike, having removed this seat already, is it can be a real nuisance to put back on. There's one place here that needs to match up with the front of the seat. There's two more here for the middle of the seat, and then there's the clip at the back, and you need to make sure that you don't get the cable caught as well. So it's not the most fun procedure to get that thing back on. So would I recommend somebody to have this bike? That is basically what you guys are going to ask us over and over again in the comments. I can't tell you whether to buy this bike or not. What I would say is that our experience of it, certainly in my opinion, I don't know about you, I think it's been very good, and I think it's excellent value for money.
It's been nothing but positive, but like I mentioned before, you know, choosing a bike that you like is very personal. There is a reason why we do not see only sports bikes on the road. There is a reason why not everybody has an Africa Twin or a BSA, because just for that reason you have so much choice to pick from. And these days everyone is competing for electronics and gadgets, and this one definitely stands tall.
Yeah.
with all the other bikes.
Now, you say this bike stands tall. It's worth pointing out that we are both flat-footed on this bike, and we're only 5'7" thereabouts, 30-inch inseams. Neither of us are particularly tall.
No.
And so, you know, if you can't climb on board a huge Tenere World Raid or something and think I can't ride an adventure bike, well, you're very wrong. Go and sit on a Voge at your local dealer, and you know, as I always say on all of my reviews, it's all right, take my word for it, I'll be as helpful as I can, we'll answer any questions you have in the comments, but the best thing you can do, get yourself out on one, go for a spin, and then let us know what you thought.
Exactly, take it on a test ride and tell us how it went. So what are we going to do for now? Are we going to have one last blast?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go and put a few more miles on this one before I have to clean it and send it back tomorrow.
Yes.
So hopefully we've answered all your questions. Like I say, any questions, any comments, right in the bottom, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
Love you, bye.